Okay, Brent, Fred Eberly here. I'm going to walk you through what I put together with your sales quote pack. And this is one way to do this. Daryl and I were talking about it, and we weren't sure exactly what Rod would be doing with Navision, so we thought maybe some of this would end up programmed more into Navision, but I'll show you how this works, and you can decide if this is something you want to do. So I just have DocuWare set here and kind of your fields in the system. This is not your system, but the fields are going to look the same. Now the only difference, I didn't go to the detail of making this customer ID linked to another field. So if a sales rep would put in the wrong customer ID, we'll bring the data across here. When they go to store it, it'll bounce an error in your system saying that it doesn't match and they have to pick something from the drop-down list. So that would be the only difference here. But what I tried to do, let me just go back to basics here, try to kind of take your spreadsheet and be able to fill in some data. And what we're doing is we're using the DocuWare Smart Connect tool in this case to be able to pull data back from an application, whether it be, Navision, something else, anywhere where we type data, we can do a screen scrape and pull that data back into DocuWare index fields. So there's two things that can happen here. I can go to DocuWare and I can have something in my tray, and I can pull this in to I'm going to just go to the standard store dialog here, and Smart Index has a button here that I can use to select it, or I can use the shortcut Control-Alt-K, and what it should do is it should go back and grab all the data from that Excel spreadsheet, and it'll input it here, and then I can store. So that's one way. Now that's going to be in my search here. If I go and I'm just going to look up documents that were stored today, and there's two of them. All right. So another way to do this is I could fill out my spreadsheet. So I'm kind of looking at it in this way, where if they were to start from scratch, let me go back here, open up the file, and let me just change a few things here. I'm going to make this for 17. Huckel. Let's make this Wolfson. Not sure that's spelled correctly. We'll go with that. And just fill out a couple pieces of information. And let's see. All right, so I can go and save that file, and this is another way. If you wanted to use Windows Explorer, you could just go to the Windows Explorer client and save it this way, just like you would save it normally into a folder structure. We need internet connection at this point, and Windows Explorer will automatically launch a viewer like this. That again, you can use your Smart Index to pull the data out of the spreadsheet and have it populate here, stored away, and now the file should be back in my DocuWare system if I go look here and do a refresh. And obviously we can create this, not obviously I guess, but this can be created to land the document in the file system, so that they could actually stamp it after they do the Smart Index and store it into the workflow, or they can put it into their tray, depending how we construct the Smart Index. We can have it land here. I usually like to go directly where it's supposed to go if I can, but our only concern would be just teaching some of those steps. That's a little bit more technical maybe. It's not that hard to do, but the more things that we lay out there, the more points of potential user error that we have. And but this would be an easy way to accomplish what you're looking to do without having to double stroke all the information here. Now, One piece of important information is what I'm doing with DocuWare is what's called a screen scrape. So if they change the resolution, or they view this down at 100% instead of right now, I think the standard it opens up at is 115. It changes how that functions. And also, if there's data down here at the bottom of the page that they want in some of that information, I'm not going to be able to grab it. I'm only going to be able to grab what I can see on the screen. So those are some of the little technical pieces. If I were to, shrink this down to get more on the screen, I would have to have everybody use it this way. So if I needed to have the builder information pulled across into my index fields here, and I didn't really look closely as to what I've got. Let's see, it looks like we have, doesn't look like we have builder information there anyway. So I think most of what we're after is up here anyway. I just want you to know how that's going to work. So that's a quick introduction. Again, to run that through real quick, if I were looking at it in a live fashion, starting from scratch, I'm going to go in here, modify my spreadsheet, grab a template or whatever, or grab an old one and change some dates or data. Let's see, 11/16, F. Eberly. Job site. Let's see. All right, so now I'm going to save that. Oopsie. Too many buttons I hit. Let me escape. Save again. And just to show you where I'm going here, I'm going to go to the DocuWare Windows Explorer client. Save it. And do my Smart Index and store. So that's one way to do that. Let me just see, make sure that one came in here. Store date is today. There, you got it. And obviously if I click on that, it's going to show them this way. That also gives you the ability, if you want to edit or check them out, you can check them out and do your normal processes. But I can, pull it right back into Excel, make my changes, and if something was wrong in here, I can modify that and store it back in, and that will, again, the check-in process is what you guys are using, but however you would choose to modify it, that'll come up and make the modifications and show you the versions then as well if you're doing the document history. So I can see out of date or current version. So that's it. Let me know your thoughts. Catch you later.